Okay, today we're going to do a check on the blue Range Rover because last night, as I arrived in Devon, no problems at all. I had a couple of issues on the way down, but nothing particularly serious. First of all, I thought it was a rear brake pad that was grinding, but all the rear brake pads are fine. Rear diff is empty. Bugger. I shall report back on that, let you know where we're going with that one. But the second thing was, I kind of went inside to say hello to my father, came back out again, and coolant was pissing out. Like properly pissing out, like, you know, it's quite common for an engine to get a little bit warmer just after you switch it off, because you've got all of the latent heat, I don't know, latent or potential. Anyway, there's a load of potential inside the engine for the coolant to heat up just a tiny bit more when it stops circulating. Because the engine's been working quite hard. I've been driving it 160 miles down from Kidderminster, 100 miles to Kidderminster, so it's done a fair journey yesterday. And it has been using a little bit of water recently, but I've not been able to really suss out where it's been coming from. So let me show you what I'm going to do and how I'm going to try and fix that. Right, so here's the expansion bottle, and you can see the drama that's been going on around it. Now, this is relatively new. I've not seen this before. Okay, so this is a brand spanking new experience for me on this particular car, this engine. So first and foremost, it kept pouring fluid out of here until there was no pressure in there. I can tell there's no pressure because I can squeeze the top pipes. Cool now. And when I took the cap off, yes, it was tight. You can see it's basically shat the entire contents of the expansion bottle out. And I expect if I took the plug off the top of the radiator as well, there's a fair amount disappeared out of there. So I'm going to need to put water back in it again, and we're going to need to do a block test. Hang about, have we just found out what the problem is here? The O-ring's torn up. This is typical of cheap, nasty, fucking shoddy crap that's available on the marketplace at the moment. So our beloved Land Rover organisation has changed its OE supplier, I believe, on the majority of its heritage products. And there's a new OE supplier, and I will confirm where this came from. I've got the old one around here somewhere. There's the old one. Beer mat. There we are, that's where it came from. That was the part number for it, because I fitted this recently. Now, as you can see, that seal in there has torn. I'm just showing you here. You can see from, from there, you can't see. From there, go out to the daylight because you probably see better. You probably can see, I can't see on my phone. So I can see, you can see the edge of the seal there. Yeah, in that channel, just above my fingernail. So it looks like the seal is separated, and it's all bunched up around one of the edges, and then it looks like it's, for fuck's sake. So that's why the coolant was overflowing. Okay, well that explains one thing. What do you have to do to get a half decent part? What I was going to demonstrate was the block tester. Now, that's just fucking irritating, that is. Do apologise, chaps. So that explains why it shat its coolant all over the place when I got down here. Because there's no, I mean the seal had obviously lasted long enough, and then the seal gave way on the pressure cap. I'll still do a block test on it because it's fun. Right, let me set this up here. It's a block test. Get the bits and bobs out. I'll demonstrate to you what's going on. Right, so when you buy a block tester, you get one of these devices here, little kind of got a big funnel on the bottom end, and the idea is that wedges in there. And then you've got a plunger at the top, which goes in the top. Is it going that way round? Or is it going the other way round? It goes in one way round. Anyway, the idea is you want to suck, there we go, it goes that way round. You want to suck the water or the air out of the system. You don't want to be sucking water up into here, but you want to be sucking air out of the cooling system into here. And then what you do, yes it is this way round, then what you do, in order to detect whether there's exhaust gases in there, you put this combustion leak test fluid in there. Now, if this stuff isn't blue anymore, it is blue, okay, so that's blue, we can use that. I have got another bottle of it. Let's just compare the colours. Sorry folks, I really should put my fucking tripod up, shouldn't I? I've even got the damn thing here. Pause. Right, there's the brand new bottle. And there's the older bottle. I'm a little bit colourblind, blue to green, but they both look blue to me. Because if I compare them together, they both look blue. So let's do a block test on this engine and see if this fluid goes green. Because that's pretty much what should happen. If it sucks combustion gases in, then it'll go green. So really all you need to do with this is whiz the top off. We've got a fluid level line. I might need to put some, no, I'm not going to put any water in it, bollocks to it. Because if there's combustion gases, then they're going to get through to this anyway. We'll put some fluid in there, up to the level line. Yeah, that's blue, isn't it? Right, okay, up to the level line. We'll put the cap back on the top. There's the cap. Put the fluid back over here. See what I mean about the blow today? Weird, isn't it? Right, let's starty engine-y. I've got all the bits for the left-hand drive Project Southpaw in the back. We'll go over that in a second. The car's arriving on Monday. Right, now we're running. Just leave it running for a minute or two. Probably could do with it getting a bit warm, really, in all honesty. But all you do is you pump the bubble and you're sucking combustion gases through. That's all it's really doing. If that fluid goes green, then we've got a problem. Now I don't believe that this thing is leaking. I think it's down to the seal. The other thing you will notice is if you can hear me, if you have got a head gasket failure, and that's what primarily I'm testing for here, if you have got a head gasket failure, you'll see bubbles coming up through here. Okay? Because the bubbles will be coming from the cylinders, forcing their way through the cooling system and into that. So let's leave that to warm up for a second. You can buy, so basically what you need to do is buy yourself a block check. You get them on eBay, get them on Amazon, get them pretty much most decent motor factors, proper motor factors will do it, not ones that sell bicycles and shit like that, because they're, you know, it's a bit too specialist for them. But it's quite good for, just you keep that, so you never ever lose that, and then you can just buy more fluid as and when. This stuff doesn't last a huge amount of time in the bottle. I've had this in the bottle, but this is probably about 6 months old or so, and it's still blue, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is green, you see. People keep telling me, no, this is blue. It looks green to me. If I put blue against it like that, it looks green. I think it is green. It's fucking green. People are winding me up, that's blue. People are winding me up, you see. Right, okay, so it's starting to warm up a little bit. And I'm just drawing air out of the combustion system. Sorry, out of the cooling system. Picture. I really want it to just warm up a little bit, so we'll do that. Let's have a. I think this cooling system is okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to top it up. I need to whiz down into town anyway. And go and get some odds and sods, but I think that's all right. No bubbles going into it. Perhaps we'll brim the system. I'll brim the system and then we'll see if that makes any difference. Pause. Right, so it took about 1.5 litres of water, which is kind of consistent with a expansion bottle overflowing on a pressurised cooling system. If you ever get an engine hot, well, normal temperature warm, and then release the expansion cap, it will shatter a load of water. It's normally about 1 litre to 1.5 litres or thereabouts. I see absolutely no issues there at all. This water is because I was a bit untidy topping it up. That's just blue and blue. That is blue right the way through. There's bubbles coming up in there, but none of it has got combustion gases. Most of those bubbles are the head in the expansion bottle which is escaping as the system warms up. And it is starting to get warm, so the thermostat's open. The other thing you'd expect to see is bubbles in here, and there's none. I think the cooling system's fine. I think it's the cap that's fucked. So right, let's do a piece of analysis on this bloody cap now. I'm going to leave that running for a minute. There's no real harm leaving it running. The cooling system's topped up. It is warming up. It's pretty much up to temperature now. That's normal temperature. Right, where were we? Looking at this bastard. I mean, what is the frigging point? Have I got an old seal on that one? There's my tripod there, look at that. The trouble is I have to take my phone out of its case in order for the tripod to actually work. So let's, oh hello car. Now, let's move this is the new part that came from Beer Mat. This is the old part, which has still got a seal in it. Now, I might use this old seal, because this may well be an OE seal. I don't think that this plunger was working on this one, which is why I didn't use it. I have a feeling, I'm just trying to look for, because I had 2 or 3 of these damn things. Let's take this seal out first of all. Fuck you! Being attacked by things. Being attacked by a junior hacksaw. Bastard. Let's put more nails in the wall. Right. So this is the seal that's coming out of the Beer Mat one. The brand new, well I say brand new, it's probably a month or 2 old. That's the seal. That really isn't going to be fucking doing anything at all, is it? Really, in all honesty, that is going to do the square root of nothing. I mean, what on earth? It's just melted. Rubber components these days, you've got to love them. Right, now let's have a look at this one here. This seal is still nice and subtle. Supple, subtle. Subtle, subtle or supple? I don't know. One or the other. And this seal, go back in here. Just pop that down into there, and I'm going to find myself some big O-rings. And I think what we'll do is we'll pop this back on. I need to whiz down to town. So that's the new seal gone back in. Oh, I'm not going to do it anymore. Right, let's walk past Sandy. You're doing some work on Sandy later on. Yeah, I still say that's blue, wouldn't you? Still blue? Still blue. Right, we'll give up with that. There's no need to continue with that experiment because I'm pretty sure now that we found the root cause of the problem. So I put the new cap with the old seal on it. But resting with the tripod a little bit, sorry folks. Now one of the challenges I have with this thing is making sure that this is level and then tighten it up. Puts the sensors, this is the sensor for the low level coolant. I think what we'll do is we'll whiz out. I'm going to dispose of this old fluid sensibly because I don't know whether it's harmful to the environment or not. What's it say? Caution. See operating instructions. Oh, it comes from Norwich. It comes from Helston Park Road, Drayton High Road, Norwich, NR6. Company called UK distributor is J&S Products Limited. It's made in the United States. So J&S Products Limited, and their website is j&sproducts.co.uk. That's where you get this stuff from. Trident combustion leak tester fluid. And they will probably sell you a block test as well. But quite a useful device. Say if you're taking all the head gaskets off or doing compression checks and shit like that, which you don't want to do unless you absolutely have to. Right, okay, let me go for a ride now. Just summing up on this video, I went for a ride. I've been driving it around, got the system properly up to pressure and stuff. There's still a leak somewhere in the cooling system, but it ain't leaking past that expansion tank seal. So that was a dirt cheap, dead easy fix. I don't know why that seal failed. I mean, obviously the cap comes off reasonably often because I do have a leak at the water pump area, which I will resolve. But honestly, that thing is just not fit for purpose, that seal. I don't know what to suggest about it. But anyway, thanks for watching. It did demonstrate the block test, so hopefully, hopefully if you find yourself unfortunate enough to suspect you might have a head gasket problem in your car, block test is the quick and easy way of just assessing whether there's combustion gases in the coolant or not. Now, on the Rover V8, it's less likely for the water, the coolant and the oil to cross-contaminate. Some engines you get that, so some engines when you take the filler cap off the engine, you'll just see mayonnaise in there. You pull the dipstick out of the engine and it's covered in creamy mayonnaise. And then you know you've got a cross-contamination between the engine's coolant and the engine lubricant, the oil. And that's a surefire sign of a head gasket failure. So you wouldn't necessarily do a block test at that point because you're going to have to take the heads off anyway because you've got cross-contamination. However, on the Rover V8 and also the Triumph Stag, what often happens when the head gaskets go is it breaks, the seal breaks between the combustion cylinders, between the combustion chamber, breaks past the fire ring, and more often than not, it will exit straight into the cooling system. And the impact of that is, I mean, obviously you've got fairly high compression going on inside an engine, and a big chunk of that compression is going to go straight into the cooling system, and it'll overpressure or overpressurize the cooling system. And many of these things, they have a cap. The Stag uses a 20-pound cap, but that's higher than most, just increases the boiling point. I think the Range Rover one's about 10 or 12. I don't know what it is. Anyway, look it up. I'm sure you find out. But typically what will happen if the system is overpressuring or overpressurizing, then yeah, it will pop the fluid past the pressure seal cap. I'm not going to do any more seal noises. Sorry about that. Lost my train of thought now. Perhaps I should have done a bloody seal noise and I wouldn't have lost my train of thought. Yeah, so what I was saying, so if the cooling system overpressurizes because of combustion gases, because of a head gasket failure, then the first thing you'll notice in an extreme case is that the top hose on the top coolant hose that goes to the top of the radiator will go quite firm very quickly. Normally takes about 5-10 minutes or so of that Rover V8 of running to get any form of pressure in the cooling system. It's quite a big cooling system. It takes a while for all the water to heat up, and obviously it's the water expanding that causes the pressure. So that's the main reason for it. But if there's combustion gases in there, then it's nothing to do with the water expanding or heating up or any of that. It's combustion gases then using the cooling system as a route of escape. And then so if you find or you're worried that your top hose is pressurizing or getting too firm too quickly for now, then block test is the way to go. The other easier way of doing it is by no means a guarantee, but you could brim the expansion tank so the water is right up to the top of the neck. Okay, and then run the engine with the cap off it, like I have done with this. And if you see bubbles or a stream of bubbles coming up through the coolant at the top of the expansion bottle, because it is typically going to be one of the highest points on the engine, then it's another indication that you've got combustion gases in the coolant. But it's no guarantee. There could be air leaks, or there could be an air lock somewhere in the cooling system that's caused it to do that. So block test is more or less the surefire way of doing it. Now, the kit that I bought, I've had it years. I just buy a new bottle of fluid every now and then and lob it in. Don't often do block tests, but it's quite it's a useful way of confirming the health of the engine. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully that was useful for you. It was helpful for me to realise that I didn't actually have any problems with my head gaskets on that engine. Because not that, you know, it's just a pain in the backside. I just don't fancy doing jobs like that at the moment. So thanks for watching. Thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, do what you like. It's I do these things really to try and help other people out. Be interested in any feedback you've got on it.